Hello ladies and gentlemen, Scar204 here, and welcome back to another Minecraft Modern Warfare vehicle tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be going ahead and building the M1 Abrams family of vehicles. The M1 Abrams is a third-generation American-made battle tank designed by Chrysler Defense, now General Dynamics Land Systems, and named for General Creighton Abrams. Conceived for modern armored ground warfare and one of the heaviest tanks in service at nearly 68 short tons, it introduced several modern technologies to U.S. Armed Forces, including a multi-fuel turbine engine, sophisticated Chobham composite armor, a computer fire control system, separate ammunition storage and blowout compartment, and the MBC protection for crew safety. Initial models of the M1 were armed with a 105mm M68 gun, while later variants have featured a license-produced Rheinmetall 120mm L/44 gun. The M1 Abrams was developed for the failure of the MBT-70 project to replace the obsolete M60 tank. There are three main operational Abrams versions, the M1, M1A1, and the M1A2, with each new iteration seeing improvements in armament, protection, and electronics. The Abrams was to be replaced in U.S. Army service by the XM1202 mounted combat system, but since that project was canceled, the Army has opted to continue maintaining and operating the M1 series for the foreseeable future by upgrading with improved optics, armor, and firepower. So yeah, the M1 Abrams here, a absolutely gorgeous tank, and I would say probably like the tank everybody thinks of when they think of modern military tanks and all that stuff. It's just such an iconic tank and has really proven itself in the United States military for years now as basically earning its place and not going anywhere. So this tutorial here is going to be kind of a first of a hopefully bunch of kind of combination tutorials. What this means is we're going to be building the main production model of or the original model of a vehicle. So for this case, we're going to be building the M1 Abrams. Then I'm going to show you guys how to build several other variants of the Abrams based off that original design. So we're going to go ahead and basically modify it to fit the needs of everything we have. Luckily for us, the M1 Abrams is kind of a good test, or a good start, because the M1 Abrams really doesn't have a lot of differences between the variants. So it makes things a lot easier for us to go ahead and kind of go through. But in the video description, and also you can look at the time encoder bar, there will be different timestamps that will take you to each variant and all that stuff, but everybody will have to build the M1 Abrams and then modify it from there to create the different variants that you can see here in front of us. So just keep that in mind going forward. Anyways, with that, let's go ahead and dive into taking a look at each one of these variants and seeing what they have to offer here. So the first variant we have is the M1 Abrams. This is your standard variant of the tank. Really nothing too crazy for it, just your standard M1. It's got the 105mm gun and all that, so pretty cool. Then we have the M1A1, which was the first kind of major production variant of the M1. This featured the 120mm gun and just a few different additions and stuff like that, mainly the cargo rack on the back and just some little changes here and there, and also the front mainland's a little bit different. Then going over to the next one, we have the M1A1 HC. This here was the first introduction of the composite uranium armor, or depleted uranium armor, I believe. And yeah, so it's pretty much very similar again to that of the M1A1. It just has that new depleted uranium armor, and also has an APU on the back there for powering the vehicle while its engine is turned off. Then the next one we have here is the M1A2. So again, the next kind of main production variant of the tank, and the one that's currently kind of most in service right now. Again, just some more upgrades to it here and there, and all that stuff. The next one we have here is going to be the M1A2 SEP tank. So this is the first one that kind of has a bit of an upgraded armor package on it. Really not a whole lot in terms of differences, but it does have a bit of an upgraded package to it. Next one here, you're going to start to really see the difference here, and this is the M1A2 SEPv2, or SEPv2. This one here is basically the introduction of the Tusk armor package, as well as upgrading the armor and defenses around for the crew. It also featured the high silhouette Crow's automated turret on top, so kind of gives it more of an automated feel and automated kind of workability. So pretty cool. Again, has an upgraded armor package on it and around. And then we have the M1A2, which is the SEPv3, and this is the kind of pinnacle upgrade for the M1 Abrams. It's pretty cool because it has the lower profile crow's turret, so it looks doesn't look as crazy. A lot more protection around for the commanders. Cupola still the same amount of protection on the gunner's position. In addition, we have the addition of these smoke grenade, or basically the trophy system, or the detection incoming projectile detection systems, which were mounted on the sides of the turret. They're kind of interesting, and they are able to detect incoming projectiles and automatically deploy countermeasures as needed. So kind of a cool system there, and that's something that's kind of more optional on the SEP3s, but I felt like it really added a lot to the vehicle and kind of made it stand out a lot more from the SEP2. And just a little side note here, the SEP2 can also be equipped with the low profile turret. That's what they're kind of moving toward, and upgrading all the SEP2s with the lower profile turret, but the SEP2 originally did come with that higher profile turret. But anyways, that is what we have for our Abrams family of vehicles. Should be a pretty fun tutorial, and a pretty long one too, so just make sure you're paying close attention to the timestamps and skipping ahead to where you need to. But as I mentioned, we will all be starting with building the standard production model, which is the M1 Abrams. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving into our tutorial here for the standard version of the M1 Abrams. Again, this is going to be the base model that we're going to be using throughout the rest of the tutorial, which we'll be using to modify to create the other version. So just keep that in mind. That is the way we will be going ahead and doing this tutorial. Anyways, though, for us to go ahead and get started here, the first thing we're going to go ahead and want to do is to set up our tracks. Now for this, we're going to go ahead and basically build 2 narrow brick ups downstairs like so, and then we're going to build 2 black shulker boxes back to back like so, or bottom to bottom, however you want to look at it. We're going to go ahead and place down 2 dark oak with trapdoors. Again, the same thing with our black shulker boxes. And then we're going to place down 2 polished black stone stairs, another 2 like so. Again, same thing here with our black shulker boxes. Then again, the same thing with our polished black stone stairs. And then again, the same thing with our shulker boxes. And one more time, same thing here with our polished black stone stairs, as well as 2 narrow brick ups downstairs on the back. So basically, look at this, you should have your stairs, so your 2 rows of stairs, 1 row of shulker, stairs, shulkers, stairs, shulkers, 2 trapdoors, and then your 2 front shulkers. So it should look like that there from the side. After you have that all complete, we're going to go ahead and then take our sandstone top slabs, and we're going to go ahead and go off of the shulker boxes with 1, 2, 3 of the smooth sandstone. So make sure you're using smooth sandstone throughout the build. And we're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood fence gate coming off this slab here, open up toward it, and this slab as well. Now, just a quick little side note here, you can also make this green. I believe the M1 Abrams itself was more in a green color scheme, and then obviously tan kind of came the iconic one as it moved to the war in Afghanistan and Iraq and all that. But I want to go ahead and just throw it out there that you can convert this to green. You can use green terracotta, dark oak wood slabs, stairs, or you can even use prismarine if you prefer. And then for like the walls, mossy cobblestone, glass panes that we use, that all would be in green. So there's definitely ways you can modify it to make it the green color. This tutorial, though, we'll be doing it all in tan just to keep all the vehicles uniform, as that's kind of the main color the Abrams is seen in. But again, you can definitely change it if you do want to, so just keep that in mind. That is an option to you guys. But anyways, we have that done in there in the front, and we're going to then go to the back 2 narrow brick ups downstairs, and we're going to place down 3 of our slabs across. We then want to go ahead and just fill in the row of basically slabs together. So we're going to place down basically rows of 3 going all the way down the center here of the tank to form the bottom of it. So like that. Then we're going to go ahead and place down 2 narrow brick ups downstairs on this side. And we're going to go ahead and then place down 2 black shulker boxes. Then 2 dark oak with trapdoors, 2 black shulker boxes again, and 2 stairs, 2 stairs, 2 shulker boxes, and you kind of get the picture. It's going to be the same thing on both sides here for the track layout. And we have our narrow brick ups downstairs. So just like that, pretty straightforward. Now at this point, we're going to go and then take our item frames, and we're going to go ahead and go to each one of our black shulker boxes. We're going to place down item frames and then yellow stained glass paints in those item frames. If you're on Java, we can also place down a birchwood button on the side of the shulker boxes as well. So we're going to go ahead and add that extra detail. Now, once we have that done, you're going to go ahead and obviously do the same thing on the other side here. So let me go ahead and just replicate that to the other side. So we have our item frames, and we have our yellow stained glass. and we have our birchwood buttons. So just like that. And that is going to form your wheels like so. Now after that is done, we then have this banner design. I'm not going to show you guys how to make it in a loom because it's really simple. But basically all we have here is we have a yellow banner. Then we took black dye, we split the banner in half. So black on the left side of one banner, black on the right side of the other banner. Then I went ahead and did a black horizontal line for the center of both banners to create basically this design here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to place them down on the polished black stone stairs with the yellow pointed toward each other. Helps us kind of help highlight the wheels a little bit better, makes the road wheels kind of stand a little bit more separately, and just overall helps the appearance of the build. So that right there is what we're going to do there for each one of those sets of 2 of polished black stone stairs. And that is going to complete what we have there for layer number 1 of the build. And with that, we'll be moving on to layer number 2. Alright guys, moving into our next layer, we have layer 2. For layer 2 to start with, we're going to place down a row of smooth sandstone across the top of those fence gates there. So row 3. Then we want to go ahead and place down a row 3 of sandstone upstone stairs going forward, and then 2 narrow brick walls out to the sides of those sandstone stairs. Behind the narrow brick walls, we're going to go ahead and place down 2 smooth sandstone blocks going back. On the side here, we're going to place down a birchwood sign, and then a birchwood trapdoor on the row of smooth sandstone. Same thing over here as well. Just like that. Now after that's done, we then want to go ahead and grab our item frames. And we're going to place down a item frame coming off these 2 stairs. White beds in those item frames, rotated sideways like so. And then we're going to place down birchwood signs on the side here of those stairs. So it's going to look something like that there. After that's all done, we then also want to place down a birchwood trapdoor on the bottom there in between those fence gates like so. Something I did forget to do in the previous layer. But that is going to form your front of the vehicle. And then from this point back, we're going to go ahead and take our smooth sandstone. We're going to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 smooth sandstone blocks back. Then a smooth sandstone up down stair. And then we're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 smooth sandstone over. And there's smooth sandstone up down stair. And then another row of smooth sandstone going all the way to the front. At this point here, we're going to go ahead and then take our smooth sandstone and we're just going to fill in the inside. So once we have that completely filled in, we're going to go and then take our birchwood trapdoors. We're going to place them along the side here of these sandstone blocks. So we're going to go all the way along the side, and then we're going to go and go over here to this side and do the same thing. Make sure these trapdoors are closed so they lay flat against the side of the blocks like so. Then after we have that all done, we're going to take our smooth sandstone. We're going to place down another row of 5 across that center space there. This time followed by a stripped birchwood log sideways to both sides. And also we're going to place down a birchwood sign on the side here of this sandstone stair. We're going to go and then place down an item frame like this, and then we're going to place down a cobweb in the item frame, and then a birchwood button like that. After we have that done, we're going to go and then go over to this side, item frame, cobweb, and again for Java players, a birchwood button. We're going to take our narrow brick stairs. We're going to place down 2 narrow brick upstairs stairs to both sides, as well as a birchwood sign on the side of the stairs, and on the front here of the stairs as well. Same thing over here to this side, like so. After that, we're going to go then take our smooth sandstone. We're going to place down another row of 3, a smooth sandstone across, an item frame to both sides. In those item frames, we're going to place down tripwire hooks and rotate them so they face downwards, and then a skeleton skull coming off the center stair just like that. And after you have that all done right there, that is going to basically conclude what we have for layer number 2. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything, and everything does appear to be good to go. So here is a top-down view of what it should look like. And with that, we'll be going ahead and moving into our next layer, which will be layer number 3. Moving into our next layer, we have layer 3. For layer 3 to start with, we're going to place down 2 birchwood trapdoors on top of these narrow brick walls. We then want to go ahead and place down daylight detectors behind those trapdoors, and do make sure that you close them again like that. We're going to go then place down birchwood trapdoors across the space between those daylight detectors. And then we're going to place down 2 birchwood slabs to both sides, as well as 2 smooth sandstone slabs across the center. We're going to go then place down another 2 birchwood slabs to both sides here, and then again a smooth sandstone slab to both ends. And in that middle space there, we're going to place down an end portal frame like so. Behind the end portal frame, we're going to place down a row 3 of smooth sandstone blocks across, which will then be followed up with a sandstone wall that's going to go here to both sides, and then a sandstone slab to the sides, so like so. After we have that done, we want to go ahead and take our smooth sandstone. We're going to go and place down a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, and then a sandstone slab. We're going to go and do the same thing on both sides there, and then we're going to do the same row going back one more time. So just like that. At this point here, we're going to take our smooth sandstone. We're going to go ahead and place down a row of 7 all the way across the vehicle. Then a second row of 7. At this point here, we're going to go ahead and then take our deep slate tile blocks. We're going to place down 2 blocks going back from here and here. Make sure that they are indented by 1. And then we're going to place down 2 smooth sandstone blocks, 2 rows of 3 filled in space in between them, and then an air 2 on this side. After that, we're going to go ahead and then place down a row of 7 of smooth sandstone across, a second row of 7, a third row, and then one more, a fourth row, going all the way across. After that is all complete there, we're going to go ahead and then take our birchwood buttons and our tripwire hooks. We're going to place down a tripwire hook on this first block here, skip one space, and then birchwood button. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, skip a space, tripwire hook, skip a space, birchwood button. So along the side, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Birchwood button, skip a space, tripwire hook, skip a space, birchwood button, skip a space, tripwire hook. So that right there is going to form up the sides there. And then on the back, we're going to take our smooth sandstone. We're going to place down a row of 5 across the center. We then want to go ahead and take our ladders. We're going to place down ladders all the way across for the rear fence. Then just a tripwire hook on both ends of those blocks. And that is going to basically form up what we have there for layer 3. So pretty simple stuff. Here is an overview of what it looks like from the top-down view. And with that, we'll be going ahead and moving into our next layer, which will be layer number 4. Moving into our next layer, we have layer 4. For layer 4 to start with, we're going to place down a row of 3 of smooth sandstone full blocks across the top of these blocks here. We're going to go ahead and take our smooth sandstone slabs, and we're going to go ahead and go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slabs forward, and then a birchwood slab on the very tip there, and make sure that these are top slabs. So it's going to basically look like this here. After that, we're going to go ahead and place down a end rod that's going to be on the right side, coming off this block here. And then we're going to place down another row 3 of smooth sandstone, or sorry, row 5 this time, of smooth sandstone going across. We then also want to place down a sandstone wall coming off the sides here of this row of 3. Then to the sides of the row of 5, we're going to place down a smooth sandstone wall. And we're going to go ahead and take the smooth sandstone wall back 1, 2, 3, 4. More walls, same thing over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll then fill the space in between the walls with rows of 5 of smooth sandstone. Then along the side here of the last 4 walls, we're going to go ahead and place down birchwood signs. Same thing will be done over here on this side. So like so. Then we want to go ahead and place down a sandstone wall right here on both sides, and then a row 3 of smooth sandstone across between them. There's going to be a sandstone top slab to the sides here. And then we're going to go and then take our smooth sandstone, and we're going to place down a row 5 of top slabs across the space here. Now after that's done, we then want to go ahead and place down a birchwood trapdoor to the sides here. And we're going to go ahead and then place down a daylight detector. Make sure that trapdoor is closed. Then we're going to go ahead and place down a deep slate tile on both sides here, and then a row 3 of smooth sandstone slabs. Continuing on, we're going to place down a sandstone slab to both ends here, another row of 2 of deep slate tiles, 1 deep slate tile over here, and 2 smooth sandstone. Fill in that space. We're going to go ahead and then place in 2 rows of 2 rows of 7 of smooth sandstone across. This will be also added onto the back here with a birchwood trapdoor, a lever to both sides, and you want the lever flicked toward the vehicle, and then trapdoors on the remaining 2 smooth sandstone blocks. For our brake lights, pretty simple stuff. We're going to go and place down an item frame like so. In that item frame, we're going to place down a red concrete block, and then if you're on Java, we're going to place down a birchwood sign on the block as well. So it will look something just like that there for the back. And after you have that all done right there, that is going to complete everything for layer number 4 of the build. And with that, we'll be going ahead and moving on to layer number 5. Moving into our next layer, we have layer number 5. For layer 5 to begin with, we're going to place down a flower pot on top of this birchwood slab. And we then want to place down a birchwood slab on top of this smooth sandstone full block. We're going to go ahead and place down a skeleton skull to both sides of the slab. And we're going to go ahead and skip 2 spaces going forward on the barrel. And we're going to place down 2 birchwood trapdoors on the 3rd and 4th slab from the front. After that, we're going to take our unportable frames. We're going to place down a row of 5 across the space here. We're going to go ahead and then place down 1, 2, 3 directly behind that. Then we're going to go ahead and take the smithing tables. We're going to place down 2 smithing tables in this spot right here. And then to the sides of this row, we're going to take dragon heads, and we're going to place down dragon heads at a slight angle. So it's going to be like that there on both sides for your smoke grenade dispensers. After that, we're going to take strip birchwood. We're going to place down 2 strip birchwood blocks back from the dragon heads. And on the side of those, we're going to have birchwood signs as well. Same thing over here. After that, we want to then take our smooth sandstone, and we're going to go ahead and place down a row 5 across this space here. We're going to go ahead and then place down a smooth sandstone block here. Birchwood log like this, there, smooth sandstone block, and then another birchwood log, just like that. And then there's smooth sandstone block, so it's going to look something like that. After that, we're going to take our smooth sandstone, we're going to go ahead and then place down a row 5 across. This will be followed up with a birchwood fence gate, opened up to the sides, like so, and then a birchwood sign coming off those fence gates. After that, we're going to go ahead and then place down a row of 3 of strip birchwood logs on their side, then a sandstone block to both ends, again another fence gate, opened up to the sides like so, and a birchwood sign like that on the sides there. After that, we're going to go ahead and then place down another row of 3 of our stripped birchwood across, and then another smooth sandstone block on both ends. This time a fence gate opened up toward the smooth sandstone block. Then in the back here, we're going to place down a row 3 of sandstone blocks, a sandstone stair to both sides, and then a skeleton skull coming off the side of the stairs like that. We're also going to go ahead and place down a tripwire hook here, and then a skeleton skull coming off the center block like so. And that right there is going to wrap up everything we have for layer number 5 of the build. So pretty simple stuff. We have our turret set up. This is what it should look like from the top down view. And with that, we're going to go ahead and basically just move into our final layers here and get the rest of the build finished. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving into our last final layers of the build. We have layers 6 through 10 for these layers to go ahead and get started with here. We're going to go ahead and go to the top, and on top of this this block here to the side, so this right here, this stripped birchwood log, we're going to place down a slab on top of that. We're going to place down a skeleton skull around the sides here, or actually these two, the sides facing to the sides, and then the one side to the back. On this forward side, we're going to place down a birchwood fence gate, open it up toward the slab, and then a birchwood fence post to the right side. That's going to be our mount there for the machine gun. We then want to go ahead and take item frames. We're going to place them on top of these 2 stripped birchwood logs. We're going to go and then rotate or place down tripwire hooks in the item frames and rotate them around so that they are positioned like that. And we're going to do the same thing on this side as well. After that, we want to go ahead and then place down a redstone repeater behind this slab like so. And then after we have that done, we're going to place down a rail in front of it. We also want to go ahead and grab ourselves birchwood buttons, and we're going to place down birchwood buttons here and here, or rather actually, sorry, right there and right there. We're also going to place down a skeleton skull coming off the side of this fence gate, so it's going to look like this here. Then after we have that done, we want to take our daylight detectors. We're going to place down 2 daylight detectors on top of those smithing tables. And then for our first machine gun here, we're going to go ahead and place down a grindstone, then a wither skeleton skull on this side, and then we're going to place down a end rod going forward from it like that for your machine gun. Now, if you're on Java, we can go ahead and place down a zombie head on the side of the grindstone. If you're not on Java, you will need to delete this item frame right here to place down the zombie head, so just keep that in mind. But on Java, we can place down both in the same block space, so that's what we're going to do right there. Now, for the upper machine gun, which is our heavier 50 caliber machine gun, we're going to place down a polished blackstone slab on top of this fence gate, and then one more forward. We're also going to place down a wither skeleton skull on this side, dark oak with signs on these 2 sides here. We also want to go ahead and grab ourselves a dark prismarine top slab, and we're going to place it coming off the skeleton skull there. And then we're going to go and then place down a powered rail on top of the slab like that for your kind of munitions box. After that, we want to go and then grab an item frame and then a black bed. We're going to place down an item frame on the side of this slab here, a black bed rotated sideways, and again for my Java players, we'll place down a sign coming off the side of the slab. We then want to go ahead and place down an end rod coming off this, and a chain like that to go ahead and create your heavier 50 caliber machine gun on top there. After that is all done, on the very back, we have a few more things we need to add, mainly just our antennas. And for these, we're going to go ahead and start off by placing down a fence post on top of this stair here, and then 2 fence posts up on top of the skeleton skull, and then 1 iron bar on top of this stair over to the right side. We then want to go ahead and take our iron bars, and we're going to go ahead and go up from this fence post 1, 2, 3, and 4 iron bars up for the radio antenna. Before we can continue on, one thing I want to go ahead and mention also that I did miss from layers 6 through 10 is going to be the addition of a flower pot that does need to go on top here. So we will be placing down a flower pot that's just going to sit on top of this birchwood block, so just make sure you include that. And once you have that all done, that is it for the M1. After you have that all done right there, that is going to complete our design here for the standard M1 Abrams and all its glory. So that's pretty much it for that. For this point on, we're going to go ahead and now move into the M1A1 Abrams and go ahead and work on its variants. So with that, let's go ahead and move on over to converting this to the M1A1. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving on over to creating the M1A1 Abrams. Now this here is going to obviously require some modifications to the M1. As I stated before, we will need to have the M1 built before we go ahead and get to this point. So just make sure that you have your M1 built and are ready to go ahead and go. Now for this pretty straightforward stuff, we're going to go ahead and start with the barrel here. Now the barrel, we are going to go ahead and extend it by 1 block. So we're going to delete this flower pot and this slab, extend this by 1 block, and then place down a polished black stone slab on the end here. We're going to go ahead and then place down a flower pot on top of that slab. Where these 2 trapdoors are, we're going to go ahead and replace these 2 trapdoors with daylight detectors. We're also going to go ahead and take our birchwood trapdoors. We're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4 trapdoors. And then we're going to go ahead and then place down 1, like so. Now what we're going to do next here is we're going to go ahead and replace this full block that the slab connects to with a sideways strip birchwood log. And we're going to go ahead and then place down we're going to delete this end rod and place down a birchwood upside down stair to both sides of the slab. So it's going to look like that there. We're going to go ahead and then place down a full block instead of a wall right here on both sides. And we then want to go ahead and place down another sandstone wall like this. So after we have those blocks placed there, we're going to go ahead and place down a birchwood trapdoor on the side of these full blocks like that on both sides. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood slab here. And then to the sides of the slab, we're going to place down a skeleton skull at a slight angle. So not exactly a 45, but just a slight angle like so. The skeleton skulls behind these, we're going to go and delete, replace with some smooth sandstone slabs. And then again, a skeleton skull to the sides there. So it's going to create this front look that's going to basically look just like that. After that's done, we're going to go and then also delete this birchwood sign here on these walls. And we're also going to place down a skeleton skull on the side of these end portal frames. So after that is all done here, the next thing for us to go ahead and work on is going to be the sides here. So for this, we're going to be going ahead and extending this. We're going to delete these 2 fence gates here, and we're going to go and extend these blocks by 2. And we're going to go then place down our signs go along the side of them corresponding to that. And we're going to do the same thing over here on this side. So like that, and again our birchwood signs on the side there. Now after that's all done, we then want to go ahead and grab our item frames, and we're going to go ahead and delete this one here, and we're going to place it here. So we're just going to go ahead and scoot it over 1. Same thing over here, like so. So that's how they're going to be positioned. Now on the back, we have our ammo or our kind of utility rack that was added on to these variants. So we're going to go delete the skeleton skull here, and we're going to place down a fence gate opened up. This fence gate right here is going to be opened up now out to the outside, and then a birchwood sign on the side of it. Same thing will happen over here, like so. Another fence gate like this, and a birchwood sign like that. So it's going to look like this here on the back. Now once we have that done, we're going to place down another fence gate on top of the slab, opened up toward the inside, like that on both sides. We then want to go ahead and do our kind of cargo rack on the back here, which will be a green shulker box. And then we're going to go and place down 1 green terracotta block, delete the skull, green terracotta, delete this tripwire hook, green terracotta, and then we can just leave an empty space right here for a fence gate. And then we're going to place down a birchwood sign on the side of the fence gate and all 4 of these blocks here. After that's done, for a little bit of detail up on top, we're going to place down a dark prismarine slab to both sides here and a green zombie head just like that. Pretty straightforward stuff. To go ahead and kind of form that cargo rack, which was added in on the M1A1s. After that is all done there, we then want to go ahead and grab some birchwood trapdoors, and we're going to go ahead and place down 1, 2, and 3 rows of 3 of trapdoors across the top of the turret. With that out of the way, on the very back here, we're going to go ahead and then grab some birchwood slabs, and very simply, we're just going to go ahead and replace these 2 smooth sandstone slabs with birchwood slabs. Before we go ahead and move on from the M1A1, I do want to go ahead and mention one quick thing also that I did forget to include. This here is going to be the addition of a stripped birchwood log that's going to be replaced this end portal right here. Very important we go ahead and add that, because this right here is going to be a modification that will be seen later on, where they attach different optics and stuff like that to the spot. But a lot of the M1A1s did not actually have the equipment. They just had the kind of position for it. So it wasn't widely accessible to all the M1A1s, but later became standard on all the variants after that. So just make sure you include that little change. And that right there is all you need to do to convert it to the M1A1 variant. Pretty straightforward stuff, really nothing too complicated or crazy for that variant. So we have that variant established and basically good to go. At this point in time, I would recommend you go ahead and build this too if you want to do the HC variant, which will be what we'll be talking about next for converting it. But yeah, this is the M1A1 right here, all completed. And with that, we'll be going ahead and now moving on to the M1A1 HC. Alright guys, so moving on to the HC variant, we have our M1A1 right here, and we're going to go ahead and modify it into the HC variant. Luckily, there isn't a lot for us to modify. It's pretty straightforward as compared to converting the M1 to the M1A1. But let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place down a sandstone wall that's going to go on top of this stripped birchwood block. We're going to place down an item frame, and then in that item frame, we want to go ahead and place down a black stained glass pane. So I'm going to go and just grab it from here real quick, be a little bit quicker, and fly back over. And we have a birch stained glass pane in it like that to go ahead and create that optics right there. Now, once that's all done, we then want to go ahead and place down a flower pot that's going to go on top of this birchwood block as well. So it's just going to sit on top of that, like so. And it's going to... So after we have the optics put on there, we're going to go ahead and then move to our siding. We're going to go and delete this fence gate right here, and we're going to go and extend the birchwood blocks back. Make sure your birchwood blocks all have the same kind of angle of blocks. You don't want them all kind of facing different directions, because it kind of looks weird and takes away from the build, I think. So just make sure that you have them all go in the same direction and they all look uniform, so like that. After we have that all done, we're also going to go ahead and space out our item frames here by one more. So we're just going to go ahead and leave a space here and extend this one back like that. And again, they're going to be facing the same direction, but just again, makes it look nice and uniform there. Now after that, we're going to go ahead and replace this fence gate here with a wall. So this fence gate here again is going to be replaced with a sandstone wall like that. Now in the back here, I went ahead and swapped out this fence gate for a green terracotta block and then a birchwood sign. And then we're going to go and delete these 2 blocks, or these 2 items here. And instead, we're going to place down a row of 2 of smooth sandstone. This is going to be followed up with 2 birchwood signs on the side of those blocks. Now on top here, we're going to go ahead and need to grab ourselves our end portal frames. We're going to place down 2 end portal frames. And this is going to be for the APU. We're going to place down 2 item frames, a black concrete block on one side, and then a smooth sandstone block on the other. We're going to go ahead and take our signs, and if you're on Java, we can place down 2 signs on the side of those end portal frames like so, and then also a sign on this side as well. So it will look something just like that there on the back. And then we want to go ahead and take our fence post and our iron bars. We're going to go ahead and replace this iron bar with a fence post, and then we're going to go up 4 iron bars like this for our antenna. So it will look just like that. And after we have that all done there, that is going to pretty much wrap it up for the HC version. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything, and everything does really appear to be good to go. So I'm going to call this good for the HC version. Again, your main differences here are going to be the addition of that APU and the addition of the optics actually being installed in this section here. So that right there is going to conclude everything for the M1A1 HC. And with that, we're going to go ahead and start moving into our M1A2 variant. The next variant we're going to be working on here is going to be the M1A2. So again, we're going to be going ahead and taking our standard M1 and modifying it into the M1A2 variant. Let's go ahead and get started with this. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do, like we did before, is going to be we're going to go ahead and delete this slab here. We're going to go ahead and replace it with just a smooth sandstone slab, then a polished blackstone slab going back, and then a flower pot on top of that slab. We're going to delete that original flower pot, so it should look like this here. We're going to go ahead and go to these 2 trapdoors. We're going to go ahead and swap these 2 trapdoors out for daylight detectors. like this, as well as we're going to go ahead and take our birchwood trapdoors and run a row all the way along those smooth sandstone slabs to the front there. We're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood trapdoor right here, and we're going to go ahead and leave that as is for right now. We're also going to go ahead and replace this smooth sandstone block with a sideways stripped birchwood log. We want to go ahead and delete this end rod, and coming off these two sandstone blocks, we're going to place down two sandstone upside down stairs. We're going to go ahead and replace the walls here with sandstone full blocks, and then we're going to go ahead and add additional sandstone wall going forward on the sides. We're also going to place down a birchwood trapdoor on the side of these sandstone blocks facing forward like so. After that's done, we're also going to place down a end rod that's going to come off this upside down sandstone stair over here on the right side. We're going to go ahead and take our birchwood slabs. We're going to place down a birchwood slab going forward, as well as a skeleton skull at a slight angle, like so, on both sides of that slab. We're going to go ahead and then delete these skulls here, and in their place, we're going to place down sandstone slabs, as well as a skeleton skull that's going to be on top of this sandstone full block on both sides there. On the sides of the end portal frames, this first row, we're going to place down a skeleton skull to both sides. And we're also going to go ahead and delete this birchwood sign that's located right here below that dragon head. Same thing over here. Now, once we have that done, that's basically all we really need to do for the front and for the front of the turret and all that stuff. And we're going to go ahead and start working on our directly onto the turret. So for this, we're going to go ahead and begin by deleting these 1, 2, and 3 fence gates. In their places, we're going to place down our stripped birchwood blocks, and we want to go ahead and also move our item frame. So we're going to delete that first one, and we're going to go ahead and then place down the item frame here with a tripwire hook in it like that. So it's going to kind of just push everything back a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here with our signs along the side here. We're going to go ahead and go over to this side and do the same exact thing. Again, we're going to go ahead and place our 5 signs along the side, our item frame, tripwire hook, and just like that. So this is translated to both sides, like so. Now, once we're at this point here, we then want to go ahead and continue to work on the back here. So the back here, the M1A2 was the first one that actually added an extended storage. Back here, storage rack, so we're going to be going ahead and creating that. Now we're going to place down a fence gate here, opened up toward the middle of the build, followed by a second one here. Same thing over here, delete that skeleton skull, and we have our 2 fence gates like so. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete this tripwire hook, and we're going to delete this skull. In place of the skull, we're going to place down a birchwood fence gate like so. We then want to go ahead and grab ourselves a deep slate stair. On the left side here, we're going to place down a deep slate tile stair, and then a smooth sandstone slab on top of that. On top of that smooth sandstone block, we're going to place down a daylight detector like that. And that's going to be, again, that APU, the auxiliary power unit. After we have that done, we want to go ahead and then place down just some cargo in here. So for me, I just went ahead and placed down a prismarine slab and then a green shulker box and a zombie head on top of it for like a little jerry can or something. So just add some cargo in the back here. And then expand upon that, we're going to place down a row 3 of green terracotta, again for cargo. And then 2 dark prismarine slabs there to the side. And we're going to go ahead and then take our birchwood fence gates. We're going to place down a fence gate here, open it up toward these green terracotta blocks. And then we're going to place down a row of birchwood signs along the side here of those blocks like that. And that right there is going to basically create the back there of the turret and all that stuff. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and then also grab our birchwood fence post again. We're going to go ahead and swap this iron bar out for a fence post on the right corner. And again, we're going to go ahead and go up 4 iron bars for our radio antenna. Now with that done, we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves some birchwood trapdoors. We're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 going across the space like so to go ahead and continue to build up the turret. We're also going to go ahead and delete our machine gun. We're actually going to go ahead and shifting the direction of that. But in its place, we're going to go ahead and delete this flower pot, and we're also going to go ahead and move this rail to this side like so. We can then delete this rail here, and we're going to go ahead and build that smaller turret to this in this section here. So it's just going to be shifted a little bit to the side here, like so, and it's going to be the same exact turret that we had before. So like this, and realistically this should be an end rod. Yeah, there we go. So just like that. So that's basically positioned like so. We're going to go ahead and also swap out this end portal frame for a stripped birchwood block like this, and then on top of it, we're going to place down a smooth sandstone full block. This right here, again, is going to be that optic that we created earlier. We're going to have an item frame, and we want to go ahead and then place down a black bed in the item frame, like so, with a birchwood sign that's going to be on the side of it. So just like that. After we have that done, we then want to go ahead and focus our attention now to the commander's cupola. Now this here is going to be a bit different. We're going to start off by deleting this slab, and we're going to place down a stripped birchwood log in its place. We're going to go ahead and then also take our smooth sandstone stairs, and we're going to go ahead and wrap smooth sandstone stairs around the stripped birchwood log, and we're also going to go ahead and replace this fence gate with a log as well, or my bad, sorry, a stair. So it's going to look like this here. We'll delete that skeleton skull there and this fence post. Then we're just going to go ahead and take wither skeleton skulls, and in the corners here, we're also going to delete these buttons. But in the corners here, coming off these stairs here, we're going to place down our wither skeleton skulls around like that for the viewports here. And also, we'll place down an item frame, black bed rotated sideways, and then again for my Java players, a birchwood sign on the side here. And you can do the same thing over here on this side as well. But just throw these in to kind of create the viewports here, which would be around the commander's cupola. And again, another telltale sign for the M1A2 is going to be this taller cupola, which was more standardized to give the commander more visibility around the tank. Now, with that done, we're going to go ahead and lastly take some iron bars. We're going to go ahead and delete these two dark oak wood signs, and in the place, we're going to place down iron bars on top of these wither skeleton skulls. So it's going to basically look something just like that. And just to do a quick overview here, just to make sure I'm not missing anything, I'm just going to go ahead and take a quick look. And for the most part, it seems like we got everything. I don't think we're missing anything, so we should be good to go. But that right there is going to be your standard M1A2 version. And with that, we'll be going ahead and moving into the first upgrade package, the SEP. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving into our next version of the tank, we have the M1A2 SEP. Basically the first version, V1 I guess you can say. This here again is going to be a modification of the M1A2, so just make sure you have the M1A2 standard version built, and we're going to go ahead and modify it from here. Now what we're going to do to start off with is we're going to be going ahead and going to this section here. What we're going to do to begin with is we're going to go ahead and replace this birchwood block with a birchwood fence gate. And we're going to have this fence gate opened up toward the outside. We're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood sign coming off that fence gate. We then want to replace the next two blocks right here. We're going to go ahead and replace these with two ladders. So we're going to go ahead and delete those signs, place down ladders in their spot, and on top of them we're going to go ahead and place down birchwood trapdoors. So this would require you to go ahead and delete basically these blocks here. So you're going to delete those blocks, and you're going to then place down birchwood signs on the side of those blocks. We're going to go ahead and go over to the other side and do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and delete this block, place down our birchwood fence gate, again open it to the side, place our birchwood sign, and we then want to go ahead and place down our birchwood slabs, or sorry, birchwood trapdoors, delete the blocks necessary, and then we have our birchwood signs on the side of those, as well as our ladders located here. Now after that's done, we're going to go ahead and then turn our attention here to the rear of the vehicle. Now we're going to replace these two birchwood signs with our ladders, and we're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood trapdoor here, and then our two birchwood signs. So it's going to look like this here on the back. Again, we're going to leave our cargo pretty much the same. And we're going to go ahead and replace this slab right here with a full block of smooth sandstone. On top of that full block, we're going to place down an end rod and then a flower pot on top of it like so, to go ahead and make some additional instruments that are located on the back here. But that right there is actually it for the SEP upgrade. It's a really simple and straightforward upgrade. The next two upgrades, the SEPv2 and SEPv3, are where we're going to start to get into a lot of the craziness going on and a lot of the super extra stuff that they put on the Abrams. So with that, that's it for the M1A2 SEP V1, and with that, let's go ahead and move on to the V2 and the V3. Moving into the M1A2 SEPv2, we do have quite a bit going on, so this is going to be a bit more involved than the some of the previous modifications we've done, because we're going to be putting this full armor upgrade package and all that stuff on it. The Tusk armor, your upgraded gun shields, the automated turret, and all that stuff. So we do have quite a bit to do, so just bear with me and let's go ahead and get started with this. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did if you built the SEP V1. We're going to start off by replacing these birchwood blocks here with a birchwood sign, open this up toward the outside, and same thing will be done over here on this side as well. We're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood sign on the side of those blocks, just like so. And then in this section here, we're going to place down our ladders. So we have our two ladders right here. And we're going to go ahead and be doing something slightly different on the sides, but for right now, on the right side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and delete those blocks there, these item frames, place down our trapdoors, and then we're going to place our birchwood signs on the side there, on the right side, and the right side only. Now on the other side over here, it's going to be slightly different. We already have our fence gate installed. However, in this section right here, we're going to go ahead and actually be placing down 2 fence gates above the where the ladders go. So our ladders would go right here. We're going to place down 2 fence gates right here, delete that item frame, open these fence gates toward the outside, and we're going to go ahead and then place down birchwood trapdoors coming off the fence gates like this for a little shield around the gunner position. Now, once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and also delete our machine gun. We will not be needing this here. And we're going to go ahead and then place down a ladder in this spot right here. Now, what ends up happening here is we're going to be going ahead and grabbing a sandstone wall, and we're going to go and delete this rail right here, so the one to the left. We're going to place down a sandstone wall. Now, once we have that sandstone wall placed, we're also going to place down a birchwood trapdoor on the side facing toward the front. And then on top of it, we're going to place down a polished blackstone slab. Now, coming off the polished blackstone slab toward the rear, we're going to place down a wither skeleton skull, and then we're going to place down an end rod coming off that slab going forward. We'll then also place down a zombie head that's going to go on the side of the slab like so. So it's going to look something that looks like this. Now, once we have that all finished there, we can also place down a birchwood sign coming off this trapdoor, and we can also place down another fence gate that's going to be positioned here. And if you're on Java, you can place a sign right here coming off the fence gate. If not, you're going to have to delete this item frame to be able to place that fence gate again for this shielding that goes around the gunner position. Now, we also have these panels here that are made with banners. These are pretty simple. I'm not going to show you guys how to make them in a loom because they're pretty straightforward, but basically all they are is a black banner. I split the banner in half with yellow on the bottom, and I did a yellow outline around it like this to go ahead and make this gun shield type design. Now, you will have to modify your build a slight bit to actually make this work. Now, if you want to do this, you're going to go ahead and replace this skull here with a slab, and then we're going to place down our black banner. On the other side here, we're going to go ahead and grab our birchwood fence gate. We're going to place down a fence gate here and open that toward the front. And then we can go ahead and place down another one of those banners coming off that fence gate toward the front. And that's going to create this kind of shielded gun position and all that stuff. You can also use the debug stick if you're on Java and rotate the banners around. However, for the sake of ease, I'll just go ahead and show you guys how to make the gun like that. You can also use barrier blocks too. Barrier blocks or structure blocks could be a good use for this section here. So you can actually go ahead and, instead of using a fence gate, you can use a barrier block and have the same effect. So a couple options there for how to go ahead and get that gun position built. But that is what you want there for this protected gun section. Then continuing on, we're going to go ahead and go to the rear here of the turret. And we want to go ahead and replace this slab here with a smooth sandstone block. Just like we did before, we're going to place down a end rod and a flower pot on top of that for that rear instrument. And also for the back detailing here on the cargo rack, we're going to place down 2 ladders instead of the signs there, a birchwood trapdoor here, and then our birchwood signs like that coming off of it. So that's going to basically start to build up what we have going on around the turret. And really the last thing for us to do here for this modification is going to be this automated machine gun. Now the automated machine gun is built by first off deleting our 50 cal we already have established. So we're going to delete the 50 cal that we have here. We're going to leave the cupola intact. So we're going to leave the cupola as is, and we should have basically something like that. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and delete this daylight detector, and we're going to place down a stripped birchwood log. And then for the high profile crow's turret, we're going to place down an anvil on top of this block. We then want to go ahead and grab ourselves an item frame and also a Eye of Ender or Ender Pearl will go in the item frame. So we're going to place an item frame and an Ender Pearl in it for the optics. On the left side of the anvil, so this side here, we're going to place down 2 sandstone walls, and that'll be the weapons or the ammo cartridge or box or whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to place down a birchwood fence gate coming off the anvil, and we're going to open it up toward it like that. So it's going to look like that there. Then we want to go ahead and place down a item frame on this side here. In that item frame, we're going to go ahead and place down a black bed. So a black bed in the item frame sideways. And then a birchwood sign on the side there again for my Java players. Now after that's all done, we then want to go ahead and place down a skeleton skull that's going to come off to the sides like that. So it's gonna kind of come out like so. Easiest to kind of place a block first and then place the skulls. Try to do it fast so you don't delete your item frame. With that done, we're gonna go ahead and then place down a polished blackstone top slab above the anvil, and then we're gonna place down a top slab that goes back from it. We're also gonna place down a wither skeleton skull on the back of the top slab. And then on the sides, we're going to place down a birchwood sign on the right side here. And then we're going to go and place down a birchwood trapdoor closed on the other. So it's going to look like that on the right side. And then on the left side, we're going to go and do something a little bit different. It's going to be a deep slate stair upside down, like so. And then we're going to place down a skeleton skull in this spot. And we then want to go ahead and grab our end rods and chains. We're going to place down an end rod coming off the slab and then a chain. And then we're going to place down a skeleton skull on both sides of the end rod. Now on top of the blocks here, we're going to place down a powered rail on top of this block here, and then a redstone repeater with the notches spread apart like that on top of the top slab. And that right there is going to basically conclude what we have for the SEPv2 version of the M1A2. Just a quick little side note is that this crow's high profile turret could also be replaced with the low profile turret that we will be using on the SEPv3 version. But the high profile turret is never used on the SEPv3 version. So you can use the high profile only on the V2, and then the low profile you can use on both the V2 and the V3. So just kind of keep that in mind going forward, that you can go ahead and kind of swap out that automated turret if you want to, if you feel it's too high. It is quite a high looking gun. It looks really out of place on the tank, and it makes a lot of sense why they switched to the low profile turret. So before we go ahead and wrap up this build, I did almost forget to put the side armor on. Now the side armor here is pretty simple. We're going to start off by going ahead and deleting all these trapdoors. We're just going to go ahead and get rid of every single one of them along the side here, as well as the sign. And we're going to do the same thing over here. And this is going to be the tusk armor that is added onto the sides of the tank. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to start off by going ahead and go to the second block here. We're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of our sandstone walls, and over here we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to place down a birchwood trapdoor on both ends, and we're going to go ahead and open the trapdoor so it sits up against the sandstone wall. And again, this will be done on all sides. Now once that's done, we're going to go ahead and then delete the tripwire hook, this button, and this other tripwire hook here, and we're going to place down skeleton skulls on top of each one of these sandstone walls, all the way along the side there for your tusk armor. And the same thing will be done over here on this side as well. Again, make sure you delete your tripwire hooks, your buttons, and all that. And this will run all the way along the side here as well. And that right there is your tusk armor add-on, and that is going to finish off the build for us. But yeah, that right there is basically it for the M1A2 in the SEPv2 scheme. And with that, we'll be moved on to our last variant in this tutorial, which will be the M1A2 SEPv3. Alright, moving into our last variant we're going to be going ahead and covering in this tutorial. This is going to be the M1A2 SEPv3. This here is the most updated actual in-service version of the Abrams that's currently used. Obviously, probably to be replaced with the M1A3 and whenever they decide to start implementing that into production. But yeah, we have a lot to go ahead and do on this one. This one is definitely one of our most busiest modifications, so we do have quite a bit to do, so let's go and roll into it. Now, this version I do have here is upgraded with this integrated trophy system that basically is an automated system that can actually deploy smoke grenades and counter measures to protect it from incoming projectiles that it can actually detect. And there are these extra extensions built on each side of the hull. Now I understand that maybe not everybody will want to have these, and if you don't, that's totally cool. You don't have to, but for me, I went ahead and included them because I think that they are really cool and kind of help set this variant apart from the other ones. Again, there's something that's not always used. Now if you don't want them, that's totally cool. You can kind of just replicate the same thing we did for the SEP1 the SEPv2 if you want to go ahead and kind of not have those. But for us, this version, we will be including them. To go ahead and add these on, we're going to go ahead and start off by replacing this block right here with a smooth sandstone block, and then a stone brick wall coming off of it. We're going to go ahead and then delete these 4 signs along the side here, and we're going to place down 1, 2 of your smooth sandstone blocks, and then we want to go ahead and then place down 2 end portal frames going back from that, followed up with a stone brick slab. After that, we're going to go ahead and place down a birchwood sign on this stone brick slab here and also on the side of it. We then also want to go ahead and place down signs here on the side of the end portals, like so. We're also going to go ahead and go down below here, and we're going to place down sandstone top slabs. We're going to delete this sign here. We're going to place down 1, 2, 3 top slabs, and then a birchwood trapdoor here on the bottom of that stone brick slab. Then once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and actually grab some item frames. We're going to go ahead and place down an item frame on the side of this block, right there, and we're going to go ahead and place down an iron bar in the item frame, and then same thing will be done here. We're going to go ahead and actually delete that sign, place down an item frame and an iron bar like that, and actually it's going to be on the other one, so it's going to be here, and this is going to retain its sign, so it's going to look like this here. And then we're just going to place down a wither skeleton skull on top of this full block there, kind of angled out to the side, and that's going to be your pod. And we're going to go ahead and go over to the other side and do the same exact thing. So just like this. And again, this could be added to other versions of the Abrams if you really wanted to. Historically, this here is only a SEPv3 add-on. But again, I don't see why not. You could add it to your SEPv2 if you wanted to, or whatever. Again, all these modifications we're doing could be applied to the other versions. It really is just kind of up to you and what you want to do and how much you care about actual accuracy and all that stuff. But yeah, that right there is our pod added on. We do have to do our top slabs on the bottom here, so don't forget those. And then we just have our birchwood trapdoor. So that right there is going to complete those trophy system pods located on the sides of the turret. So pretty cool stuff. Those are added on and those are good to go. The next thing we're going to go ahead and do is the tusk armor. So again, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to delete all these trapdoors along the side here of the build. And while we're at it, we're going to delete that one sign there and also your tripwire hooks and your buttons. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the second smooth sandstone block and place down a row of sandstone walls all the way along the side, ending right before that stair. We're going to go ahead and place down birchwood trapdoors here on top of the walls, or on the sides of the walls, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that they're closed. And we're going to place down skeleton skulls here all the way across the top of the walls. Now you might run into the problem of placing them just due to the way we have the vehicle. If you need to, you can delete those slabs real quick to place them. I would highly recommend that if you're placing these, that you place them with the face facing toward the inside of the vehicle and not toward the outside, as it looks better. But for the sake of the tutorial, I will just go ahead and place them like so I'm not wasting too much time trying to finagle things in there where they shouldn't be. And also, this one birchwood button right here can remain, so that one will remain. So we're just going to go ahead and go over to this side and replicate the same thing that we did just over here to this side. So again, going to kind of knock it out a little bit quickly as I recovered it on the other side. And it's the same thing, so it makes it nice and easy for us. Okay, don't forget to delete these here. So we have these trapdoors on each side, and then we have our skeleton skulls all the way across the top here. Again, recommend putting the face toward the inside of the vehicle. So for our tusk armor added on and good to go, we can go ahead and start working our way up into the turret where most of your differences are going to be. So the first thing we're going to go and start out with is we're going to go to the back section here. We're going to go and replace this with a smooth sandstone full block. And a little bit different, we're going to go ahead and place down 2 end rods that go up from the fence post and then or from the block here, and then 2 fence posts up from the end rod. So it's going to look something that looks like that there. We then want to go ahead and take our ladders. We're going to replace those 2 signs with ladders. Same thing we've kind of been doing in previous versions. We're going to place down a birchwood trapdoor and our 2 signs going across those blocks like so. So it's going to look something like that. Now, after that is all done, we then want to go ahead and start working on basically our top of our turret. So for the top of the turret here, we're going to start off by going ahead and going to this section here. We're going to place down 2 fence gates, and we're going to go ahead and open these fence gates toward the outside. We'll then delete these this item frame here. We're going to place down 2 birchwood trapdoors and have those open so they lay flat against the fence gates, something like that. And that's going to start forming this armor on the right side. Then up on top here, or rather we'll kind of go to our gun position first. We're going to place down a fence gate that is going to sit right here, and we're going to have this fence gate opened up toward the outside. If you're on Java, we can place down a birchwood sign on the side of the fence gate. If you're not on Java, you'll have to delete that item frame and all that. We're going to go ahead and place down a birchwood trapdoor here, close that like so. We're going to go ahead and delete this item frame and place another trapdoor so it sits like that. And then this section here, we're going to delete our gun. And we're going to go ahead and then delete this rail. And we're going to go ahead and then replace the rail and have it sit right here. We're going to go ahead and place down a sandstone wall that's going to sit here, followed by a birchwood trapdoor. And it's going to sit on the front of the wall and closed up against it, so it sits like this. And then a birchwood sign that's going to come off the trapdoor like so to the side. Again, we have our shields around our gunner. After we have that done, we want to go ahead and then place down a polished blackstone slab here on top. We're going to go ahead and then place down a end rod. And then we're going to place down a wither skeleton skull here to the left side. And then, or sorry, a zombie head, and then a wither skeleton skull come off the side facing toward the back. So it's going to look like that there. Now we can go ahead and then use the same technique that we used before, and this is going to be this banner design. So this banner design here is a black banner, split in half with yellow on the bottom, and then a yellow border around the banner like so. So it looks like that. We can place a barrier block on the one side, have it sit closed like that. Over here on this side, there's a few different options for you. One of the things we can do here is to actually replace this zombie head with a slab of prismarine to go ahead and have the same effect. So it's going to look something like that. We have the gun shields there for the gunner position. Now with that all done, the pretty much the last thing for us to really do here is going to be the position around the commander's cupola. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to delete this 50 caliber machine gun from the top here. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that, and then our iron bars. Now once that's all deleted, we can go ahead and then start off by placing down a stripped birchwood log that's going to replace this daylight detector. And then we're going to go ahead and then place down an anvil on top of it. Coming off the anvil, we're going to place down an end rod, and then we want to place down a chain going forward like so. We're going to go ahead and then place down a dark prismarine top slab here to the right side of the anvil, and we're going to go ahead and place down birchwood signs around these two sides like so. Then the other side, going back, we're going to go ahead and place down a sandstone wall, a polished blackstone top slab, and then a wither skeleton skull come off that top slab like so. On the other side, we're going to go ahead and place down a spruce sandstone top slab, then a birchwood fence gate opened up toward the top slab. After that, we want to go ahead and then place down a birchwood sign on the side of this top slab, and then an item frame going forward from it like so. After that, we're going to go ahead and then place down an ender pearl that's going to go in the item frame like that for the optics there, like that. So that's going to basically complete that. And then we just want to go ahead and place down a powered rail on top of this top slab here, and that's going to make the ammo belt that feeds into the gun. So that is pretty much our automated turret done. That's the low profile turret. Again, you can use that turret on the M1A2 SEPv2 also if you want to. And then lastly, we have just a little bit more armor that we need to put around the cupola, and this is going to be done with a fence gate that's going to go on top of this right here. Open that to the outside, fence gate here, open it up toward the outside, and then a sandstone wall connecting the two together. We're going to go ahead and then place down the same banner design we used for the gun shields there on the smaller gun around the cupola like that for a little bit of extra armored protection. And then we want to go ahead and place down a trapdoor that's going to sit here on top of this block, open it so it sits upwards like that, and then birchwood signs around the daylight detector. So you get something that looks like that there for the armor around it. And once you have that all done right there, that is going to wrap up the upgrades for the SEPv3. And with that, that is going to complete the M1A2 SEPv3. And that right there, guys, is going to wrap up my big combination tutorial for all the main production variants of the M1 Abrams. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this tutorial and are able to put it to good use. If you do end up using any of these builds in this video, I do ask that you guys give me proper credit for the build. This can be anything from a sound the build to link to my channel or this video if this does appear in social media sites. As long as you guys give me proper credit for the build, you're free user for a project you guys are working on. With that though, thank you guys again so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any feedback or any ways you'd like me to do these tutorials differently. I'm obviously still experimenting around with the concept of combining basically variants into one big tutorial instead of doing separate ones. So I'm obviously having some maybe things that iron out here and there can maybe make things smoother for you guys. Definitely let me know. With that though, I want to say thank you guys all so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been your 2x4, and I'll see you guys next time.